Hey Rifters, welcome to the show. Take a moment, subscribe, rate, review on Apple Podcast. We're trying to get those reviews in, those subscribers in. Also on YouTube, help the show out. Share, watch, tell a friend. You could also book me on Cameo at cameo.com/Keith Reza for all your birthday shout outs, your Christmas shout outs, your happy Labor Day shout outs, whatever. I shall do it. Anyways, I got a great guest today. This is one of the first times I'm actually interviewing just a director writer. So I'm very excited, and I grew up on her films, and you know, I think she's just incredible. She directed Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Johnny Dangerously, which is one of my favorite comedies. It had Michael Keaton. It was like, well, you'll hear about that. I definitely want to talk about that. Look Who's Talking, Clueless. So she directed European Vacation, which is the second Vacation in the Vacation movies. So I'm very excited to talk to her. The great Amy Heckerling is going to be here via Zoom on Reza Riffs. So I'm excited. You guys are going to have so much fun listening to this episode. So yeah, uh, show some love, write a review, and tell your friends. All right, Rifters, that's all I got. All shows are at www.keithreza.com, and it's going to be a blast. So tell your friends, be a Rifter, and we appreciate the support and enjoy Razor Riffs with Amy Heckerling coming up next.
From Hollywood, California, welcome to Reza Riffs with your host, Keith Reza.
Hi,
Hi, Amy Heckerling. How are you?
I'm great. Hold on. There I am. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I like the. Is that a mirror behind you? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's that's cool. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're in New York right now, or
Yeah. I
yeah?
got back from London a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, how is London?
Well, the whole time I was there, it was really chilly and rainy, but hopefully it'll get nicer now. And we did our show there of Clueless.
Oh, nice. How was
Yeah.
that? Was that cool?
It was it was amazing because I never worked on a theatrical project before. So that was my first time. And we had wonderful, wonderful choreographer and songwriters and director, and the actors were amazing, and we got really good reviews.
Now, did you direct this, or were you just like helping putting
I'm
it
the
together?
writer. I wrote the book.
Yeah.
They call it a book in on theater, but I felt stupid even saying that. I kept saying, "Well, in the script, can we do da da da?" But it's not a script. That's only for movies.
Right.
But I felt like if you write a book, that's like, you know, a book. This is, this is just dialogue for Cher to say.
Right. What's the difference, like, in your mind? Like, is it harder to write a book or harder to write a script? Because I know you wrote the script of Clueless, like the movie and the TV shows and stuff.
Well, when you write a script, and especially like I've been working in movies like many, many years, so you have in your head what the movie is,
Right.
and you're just putting that down on paper. And in theater, you can't say they're on the freeway, you know,
Right.
or you can't cut from like one person asking a question to a different location with another person answering that question. So it has to be what happens in one place constantly.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes me a little crazy because, like, how do you do that and make it interesting and have
Right.
a certain, pace to it? So it was like learning a whole new craft.
Yeah. But that's so cool that, because, you're going in that adventure, you know what I mean? So like That's what an accomplishment because you went from the movies to the TV shows and now you're doing something live because I come from stand-up comedy and
Uh-huh.
it's not like doing a play or whatever, but live performance is very hard.
Yeah, my daughter does stand up sometimes, and it's like I get so nervous for her. I get stage fright whenever she's on.
Really? Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
What's her, is it Molly or is it
Yeah.
another? Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen her live, but it's great that she does stand up. I love all stand-ups.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard. Even when I'm like watching TV and they come on a late night show and they do some of their jokes, and it's like, oh, this must be so like, what do you do if it fail? Joke doesn't work and you got to get on to the next one right away and just, you know,
Yeah.
not let it get you down.
I kind of just let it get me down and just go through the fire.
Yeah.
But so we might go back and forth a little. I do apologize, but I wanted to ask you about Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where because that was your first movie, and I know that you were struggling to get into the business and stuff. So like, how cool was that when you got that? Say, hey, they said, hey, Amy, we want you to direct this. I know you've probably been asked this a lot, but like, how like what a great accomplishment you got. Like, were you like jumping for joy when you got this, or like, how did it go?
It's kind of funny because I had been working on a script that I wrote for many years, and it kept going into turnaround, which meant the studio would say, "We're not doing it, but you go somewhere else if you want." And then we'd go somewhere else, and then they'd say, "We're not doing it, but you could go somewhere." And so it had been through three places, and then like we were doing it, and they were building sets, and we had a cast, and money was being spent, and then they go, the actors went on strike, and it's lasting longer than we thought, so we have to drop some projects, and you're a new person, so we're dropping yours. um, and
Yeah,
was then it couldn't even be picked up anymore because they had spent money building sets and storing sets and having offices with casting people. So it was like for a little movie, you couldn't like make somebody pay to cover all their costs.
right. Yeah.
So I was like really bummed out. And I had an office next to this producer, Art Linson, and we were friendly. And he was working on a thing that he was directing. And then he had this project that this young writer was doing. And he said, I had read other things of his before and told him what I thought. And he said, read this, give me your notes. So I did. And then he said, oh, you know what? You want to come and talk to the executives? I want them to hear this stuff. So I think we were at a restaurant or something. And I told them, you have all these kids, but I'm like working class, and I would like it better if they were like working kids. They weren't just kids that had swimming pools and cars. Because
Yeah.
to me, I hear that and I think rich, and I don't want to see a thing about rich people. They said, no, everybody has cars in LA. It's not a thing. It's not expensive. And it's like, I didn't have a car.
Right.
Um, and a swimming pool. Who the hell has swimming pools?
Everyone has one now.
Whatever. I never. To me, that was like a fantasy land.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
And so I said, I would. Shopping malls in the early '80s were starting to become a thing, and I said, if you put them all in a shopping mall, that's kind of like in old movies they'd have the like, the juke joint with a soda pop when they'd go and get sodas and dance, and that was the hangout.
Yeah.
So I said, let's make the mall the new hangout where everybody is, but they're working and they have uniforms and they have jobs, and then I'll like them better. And they said, huh, okay. And, I told them some other ideas I had. There was a scene in the book of Fast Times where a guy orders a pizza in the classroom.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, this is hysterical, but you should give all these like really cool things from the book. Forget about who really did them. Give them to Spicoli
Yeah.
because he's the guy. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the one that you want to like see what's he going to do next kind of person. So get all the funny stuff, give that to him. And I told him, I don't know, a few other things. And they said, So you want to do it?
Whoa, so they just offered it to you like that.
I thought I was just giving them ideas, and hopefully they would like my ideas and consider me for other things, or let me pitch something of my own because they liked my ideas. That, yeah, that was a shock.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like one of those cool stories where like you're given like feedback and stuff and you probably had no idea they were even going to say, "Hey, Amy, we want you." Yeah.
No, I mean, the producer had told me, like, I said, here's these ideas. Oh, you want to talk to these guys about it? Okay, sure.
I wanted to ask you because like it was your first film. Did you have any what's the word I'm looking for? Like any say on who you wanted to cast, or was that just all the casting people?
Oh, no, there was, a casting director, and we had every young person coming in that was like, out there. Um, what's his name? Ralph Macchio came in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I was like, they were going, this kid's going to be really big. This kid's going to be really big. And I said, oh, he could do Mark Ratner. I mean, he's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
And but the producer, Art Linson, said, if we get like stars that like, and I also suggested Scott Baio because I loved him too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's
he
great.
could be Damone, he's great. And he said, well, we're going to find new people. And then if you have other people that are at a different level, there's like, it becomes like, some people are big, some people are not big. There's somebody has a big trailer. This guy is in a little part of a trailer.
Yeah.
Um, and he felt like we should find all new people. This was Art Linson.
Yeah.
And everybody will be on an even plane, and it will be, it'll be better atmosphere, and you'll have all these new people. And so even though there were some wonderful people out there that I really liked, it was like, we're going to get a whole new bunch of people.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that question is because I know you're friends with Martin Priest and he had a small role in it. So I was wondering if you like threw him that or if he auditioned or whatever because he was a director himself, you know?
Oh, who did you say? Marty Brest?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, we went to film school together, and we actually grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I've known him a long time. Um, I asked him to be like, you want to be the doctor? And my friend Stuart Kornfeld, the boss in the pirate fish place,
Yeah.
the one that says, Hamilton, what are you doing? Um, that was like one of my best friends. And then Taylor Negron was another very close friend. He's the one that delivered the pizza.
Yeah, I know I knew Taylor. He did stand up and
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah. I mean, I wasn't tight with him, but you know, we met each other a few times. He was so nice. He was one of the nicest guys I've ever met, so.
he was so sweet. He's so wonderful. And so those were like my three best friends,
Yeah.
and they all had parts. And other people that had smaller parts, but were like, Ray Walston. It was like I was a fan of his forever.
Yeah. Now,
Uh,
now is this true? Because I don't know if this is true. Maybe you can't say this, but I heard that Nicolas Cage lied about his age and you found out and like something like that. Like, is that true or is that a rumor?
he lied about his age, but I didn't find out about that till after the movie was done.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, but it wasn't up to me to like say, oh, check out,
Yeah, yeah.
is this legal, or do we have to have a teacher on the set when he's there, or that, I was just like, what did I think of his reading? And I thought he was amazing. Um, and I know that rumor has it that he's mad at me because he thinks I cut out things of his. I cut out things of everybody,
Yeah.
but because it's a 90-minute movie. So, but I actually really, really liked him. And there was one of the other higher up people had said, nah, they didn't want, I wanted him to be the Brad character.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And they had rejected that idea.
Yeah.
but I was like fighting for him. But then when it was ultimately not going to be him, my upstairs neighbor was Judge Reinhold,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, and so it was like, well, who are we going to get now? Well, would Judge do it? Yeah, sure. Okay.
Did you just go upstairs and knock and ask him?
Well, I mean, his girlfriend was working with me
Yeah.
on the show, so she knew about the part and she knew everything. He knew what was going on.
Yeah. Well, I want to move over to Johnny Dangerously because I love Johnny Dangerously. And I feel that's one of those movies that, some people don't really understand the comedy. And I was wondering, like, now it's like a cult classic, but like back then, was that kind of hard to deal with if they weren't understanding the jokes or whatever?
Well, I mean, when it came out, it did not do well, but that was a Christmas release, and a bunch of movies came out. One was by my ex-boyfriend Marty Brest, Beverly Hills.
Oh,
Beverly Hills Cop came out, and it just slaughtered all the other movies.
yeah.
So even Clint Eastwood had a movie coming out then that did not do as well as they usually do. Um, but when people would ask me, like, why do you think it didn't do well or whatever, um, I'd say, well, the audience was people that are like getting stoned and remember the 1930s.
Right.
And that's a very small little thing I was aiming at. I hope I hit it though. But um,
Yeah. The one of the reasons why I like that film is because there's something that a lot of people don't know, but I know this. Michael Keaton started as a stand-up, and
yeah,
I thought that movie he really showed his good comic timing. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
and like no one believes me when I say, oh, he used to be a stand-up, but he used to be.
No, he was. I mean, he's a funny guy. And I mean, obviously, you just give him some leeway and he'll go crazy and be hilarious. And, like, look at Beetlejuice, you know. What was the Ron Howard movie that he did before that? Where they were ran a him and Henry Winkler.
Oh, I know
It
what
was,
you're talking about. I don't know the name of it though. It's like
yeah. I mean, you got the feeling that all came off the top of his head. I mean, he's brilliant.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I also feel like that's why like he was probably the best Batman because he was just being funny as Bruce Wayne and then being serious. And I just thought I just thought as a stand-up, I wish I was alive back then so I could see him live doing stand-up. You know what I mean?
Is there anything on YouTube where you could watch it?
Yeah, but I mean, there, it's kind of like the play. It's more magical seeing it live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
So. But I wanted to ask you because Look Who's Talking was the first movie that you actually wrote that you got credit for. And I wanted to know like how is that experience? Because was this the movie you were writing while you were trying to find a job, or like how did it come into that?
Well, I had a baby,
Uh huh.
um, and I had in my head said I won't have a baby till I've done 3 movies
Oh,
because
nice.
and I figured if you've done 3 movies, then you kind of then you are a director because even if one doesn't do well or whatever, it's like you did 3.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
do one and it doesn't work, forget it. They'll never use you again. 2, I wasn't sure about, but I thought 3 would be solid, and
Right.
then I could have a baby. So I did that, and then I was with my kid, and I was like going to be home for a while, and was thinking about the kind of stuff. I mean, because I've written before, and I've written scripts that almost got made, or blah blah blah. And so I started working on that, and that was just like where my heart was, because it was just like I was writing about my baby.
Yeah. Now, how many when you write something, how many like times do you like rewrite it or write it before you think, okay, I'm gonna go pitch it, like I'm comfortable pitching it? Like, do you in your mind, how does that go?
Well, I mean, things have changed somewhat, but in the olden days, if you had an idea, you would go in once you've had it sort of worked out,
Yeah.
picture to them, and they would hire you to write it. And you could have a whole script, but then you're like hoping that they like the whole thing and pay you for it.
Right.
But I was more in the position of like going in, telling people what it would be once I had it worked out, and hoping they would hire me to write it.
Yeah. And then like it probably was more stressful for you back then because you probably had a typewriter, right? Where now like a computer, it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? You could just
I hate to tell you, but I don't type.
Oh, you don't. Oh, okay.
I
Uh,
don't type on anything. I don't. Um, the one class that my father made me take, I went to art and design high school, and he said, you got to learn to type, or I'll be supporting you my whole life. And I tried, and even like, every day I would fall behind the rest of the class further. Like
right.
they finish the job, I'd have too many mistakes for them to let me move on. And so it had the names of some people that weren't doing so well, and mine, then some check marks of like what you didn't do right, how many. And they'd be like, Susan, 5 things, 3, and then my name, and the checks of what I failed at went all across the front of the room.
Oh my God.
Like, and I came in over Christmas, and I still was not good at it. But the fact that I came in over Christmas meant they gave me a D instead of failing me completely. So,
Wow.
um, you know, meanwhile, I didn't type, I write longhand. And
How long did like but like so that's even worse than typing then because you're like writing the entire story and then if they give you notes you have to you know what I mean? You're like, yeah.
no,
Oh, really?
if I have a page that has like one thing they want to change, I'd like write the changed part. I'd like, take my scissors and my scotch tape,
Oh,
and
you still have
I put in the new part.
Oh, wow. That's old school.
Yeah, that's cut and paste when you really mean it.
Exactly. And then so look who's talking comes out and it's a massive hit and then like they said, "Hey Amy, we want you to write a sequel." Do you feel like you were a little rushed on that or like did you already have a sequel in mind?
No, there was a lot of pressure to do that, and I didn't want to.
Uh-huh.
But it was like the situation was because of other things going on that I was like, I had to. So
Yeah.
I did. Um, and, did the best I could. And, John and Kirsty are always amazing. But it wasn't what I felt like doing next.
Right.
And, you know,
Well, what was your heart that you wanted to do that you kind of got forced to do this?
um, in my heart, I didn't know because I was like ready to start a different kind of thing. And then I started thinking about what movies I liked and what kind of characters I liked.
Yeah.
And I thought of like, there's this book, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It was made into a movie, but I didn't like the movie. But
Right.
um, this Lorelei character who's like a girl that's very beautiful and has a million boyfriends, and she just is so sure everybody's going to be in love with her, and how can she get the biggest diamond possible out of them? And I thought, wow, where does she come off thinking all that?
Yeah.
Then I saw this movie, Ed Wood. I don't know if you know that.
I love Ed Wood. My
I love
well,
Ed Wood.
one of my I call him my grandpa in comedy, but Bobby Slayton was in it, and I opened up for Bobby when he did stand up, and I keep saying, Bobby, you were so great in Ed Wood, and he's like, no one's ever seen it. I was like, it is such a great film.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
And that character was just, I loved him. It's like that when you rewrite a screenplay, it gets better and better. And
yeah,
all these like great lines. It's like, should we do one more just to be safe? What's to be safe about? It's like, and he was so sure he was great and so happy.
yeah.
it was just so uplifting to watch him.
Yeah, definitely.
So I thought, what are these people like that are optimistic?
Yeah,
It's very weird to me, but it's fascinating, and I think it's really funny.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so I started to think about that kind of a character.
And then Clueless came.
Well, that was Clueless.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's like you get dressed in the morning and you know you look beautiful. You go to school, you know everybody likes you. You think of something your father should do, you know it's the right thing. You know, you're
Yeah.
just sure that you're right.
What
Most, you
was
know.
was Clueless easier to write for you because you had this idea and then when they said, "Hey, let's make it a TV show," did you know how to do it immediately or did you struggle on how to find the path to do that?
Well, at first I pitched it as a TV show.
Oh, you pitched it as a TV show first.
Yeah, and I wrote a pilot and they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I felt like I did this movie that made so much money in America and overseas, and yet I'm not getting anything good, and they're not doing the things that I feel like doing. And what's going on? So I got a new agent, and I got this guy Ken Stovitz, and he was like, he said, "Let me see what you've been doing," and I showed him a bunch of things, and I showed him the pilot that I wrote, and
Yeah.
he said, "This is a movie.
Yeah.
This is like this is too good to show them for TV. This is a movie." And can you picture it as a movie? And I thought, well, I would love to. And I thought, okay, so it's not just a whole bunch of little episodes with different things happening to her. What's like a complete arc for this character? And where have I seen this before in great literature? And I remembered Emma from, Jane Austen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I reread it and I went, this is brilliant. Everything in here would fit perfectly for 90s teenagers, even though it was written like in the beginning of the 1800s. And so I pitched it and we were off and running at a studio and I was writing a script.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, when you're writing and you're also directing, I wanted to ask you because like a lot of writers get upset when their stuff that's on a script isn't used. But if you wrote it and you're a director and like say like an actor like just improv something or something with your blessing, do you get upset as a writer or do you think okay, it's okay because you wrote it? Does that
Uh,
question make sense?
yeah, of course. I mean,
Uh,
the director, you're always going, who wrote this crap?
right,
And and as a writer, you go, I wish I had a better director.
right.
Um, so, you're always knowing that if you had a genius doing the other stuff, what you were doing would look a lot better. But I mean, the people that I had in this movie, um, they knew their characters so well, and so it wasn't ever like somebody was going to say something crazy.
Yeah,
And I just remember one place Paul Rudd was like, he's giving Cher a driving lesson. And I had this line, you see that line in the middle of the road? Yeah, yeah. Well, pick a side and stay, Um, but we were doing it and she was like on the wrong side, which was fun. And he goes, hey, James Bond, in America, we drive on the right. So I thought that's a funny line. So,
yeah.
it's still in there.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's so cool because you mentioned Paul Rudd, but you also directed him uh I would say 2008, 2009 with which is now like a cult film, but it's I Could Never Be Your Woman, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I wanted like how cool is that the paths cross again, you know what I mean? And he's not the only one. You've done so many other people too, but I was just like,
Well, I mean, I love him. I just
yeah.
think he's brilliant. And, you know, eh, anytime I could get a chance to hang out or work or whatever with him, it's like, I'm there.
Yeah.
He's so funny and he's so smart. you
Yeah,
know.
definitely. Now, I wanted to ask you one question about I Can Never Be Your Woman, because my best friend, he told me that he auditioned for it, and he's no longer with us or whatever, so, I could ask this question. But he said that you fired him, and I want to know if that's true. Did Norm Macdonald audition for you, or?
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
No, I mean I knew him from Saturday Night Live,
Oh, okay.
but no, he never auditioned.
Oh, okay. He said like I don't know. He told me that John Lovett's got the role or whatever, and I don't know.
Oh no, John Lovitz was offered it straight.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's one of those questions I just was curious about. And then I wanted to ask you about Loser because Loser, you directed so many great comics in it, like Dan Aykroyd and, Andy Dick had a scene, David Spade had a scene, and then Greg Kinnear. And I wanted to know, like, how's it like directing all these geniuses and like that type of
I
vibe?
mean, it's just fun to be around those guys.
Yeah,
And you always hope like, okay, this is what I have, but I bet they're going to really, bring it and it'll be it'll be much better even. So, you know, there's always that hope.
yeah, definitely. So, like, that was a great film. And I feel like that was a film that also didn't get a lot of praise or attention. You know what I mean? Like, I feel something, happened there.
Yeah, I don't know what I can't explain. I see a movie like Idiocracy.
Yeah,
I mean, I go, that's genius, you
right.
know? And then it's like, I don't think I saw any ads for it on TV.
Yeah,
I mean, there was like one poster hanging somewhere, and I think they had wrong information on it.
right.
It's like, why isn't that given a lot more respect?
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that it's because, like, comedies usually aren't respectable forms? Like, do you think maybe that's something that has to do with the play with that?
There's that they say when you do comedy, you're sitting at the children's table,
Right.
and when you look at what people are giving big awards to, comedy is like,
It's
you know,
always on the bottom. I think that needs to change because I feel comedy, especially in times we're living in now, I feel comedy is the only saving grace of life. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's nothing better than making people happy.
yeah. If and I'm always looking like, what's this about? What's that about? Call people. What did you see this? Is it worth it? Well, the first few episodes, I don't want to know about like how I'll feel about it after I've watched it for weeks. It's like,
Yeah,
I want something to make me feel good right away.
exactly. Well, Amy, I have three more questions for you. They're really fast. Can I ask these real fast?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you about producing because I feel producing is one of those things that people have different definitions on what it is. And I know that you produced Molly and A Night at the Roxbury and stuff, but you didn't write or direct any of those. So I wanted to know like what is producing in your eyes? Like how did the like what was your involvement in those?
Sometimes, somebody says, just say you're doing this because, it could help get it made. It's like, but I'm not doing it, and I'm going to be here doing this. It's like, just come on. And you say, okay. And, you have nothing to do with it,
Right.
Um,
So they just throw your name on it and you're like, ah, all right.
yeah. And you go, hey, if it'll help so and so, I'll give you my notes, but I don't really know if it's any good. um, and other times it's like you're there all the time and you're like, bothering everybody.
Yeah. Like you're the boss.
Well, I don't know about the boss, but you're constantly giving your 2 cents for everything.
Yeah. I always thought a producer was someone who worked at the grocery store throwing the produce.
I don't know how, for every guy that gets a producing credit, there's a different, bunch of skills that they have.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask you about Gilbert Gottfried because he was a buddy, and I know he was your buddy too. And I heard that your assistant at the time hated him, and I wanted to know, is that true, or like what did that happen?
You know, I don't even keep track of who hates who, like whatever, I mean, the guy, yeah, Gilbert, he was just like, he'll say what he thinks, and it doesn't matter if it's like insulting or in bad taste or whatever. There's no Gilbert filter. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you love him, that's great, because the things that are funny are well worth it.
definitely. And then my last question for you, this is kind of more like a spiritual question, but Amy, if you were a Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavor, uh, what would you be called, and what would your flavor be?
Well, sometimes I go to that yogurt place, and there's one that's called European tart. And I
Oh,
think that's kind of a funny way to describe somebody. You
yeah,
know? So I don't know if I'm descendant from Austrian Germany, blah blah blah. But that just cracks me up. So I would pick that.
awesome. Well, Amy, where can the folks at home follow and support you? Do you have a social media you're plugging, or do you not want to be followed? You just want people to watch your stuff?
Well, I want people to watch my stuff. I'm on Instagram. I think I'm on Facebook too, but I stopped looking at it. It
Yeah,
just started to piss me off. But I know it's owned by the same people, so it doesn't really matter. But like, it's easy to keep track of, all the people that were ever in any of your films, because there they are, and
yeah,
that's fun. Um, but I'm not like somebody that's like always putting out stuff and trying to be entertaining and get a lot of likes. I don't care.
right. Yeah. Well, Amy, thank you so much. I know you don't do a lot of interviews, and thank you so much for taking a chance on me. It made my day, and I'm a huge fan of you, and I admire you. And thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Well, it was a pleasure, and it was like a very fun interview for me.
All right. Well, Amy, have a great day, and hopefully our paths will cross outside of Zoom.
Yay, and good luck with your stand-up.
All right. Bye, Amy.
Bye bye.
All right, guys, that was the episode. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Reza Riffs.